Is this thing on?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lewis Harris. Thank you for joining me at Record in Progress podcast, the podcast I created to create some shared perspectives, stories, and narratives to create understanding and a pathway towards a unified society. And so I am lucky to, I don't know if lucky is the right word. I'm lucky to have this person as a family member. That's what I'm lucky for. You know what I mean? So this person I've known my entire life. And would you please introduce yourself? Say your name at least.
T Hardaway.
There you go.
T for
Hey
short.
T.
T for short. Timony,
Yeah,
but T for short. We'll do T.
you're good. However you like it. So, how do you identify yourself? And this question is not a prescribed question. I know some
Mhm,
people think that you're supposed to answer that question a certain way. I just want to
mhm.
know how you identify yourself.
I identify myself as a Black woman, African
Amen.
American Black woman. That's how I identify myself. With a little bit of
Amen.
this and a little bit of that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes. You know what? But let me also add to that. I identify myself as a Christian Black woman.
Amen.
Yeah, I do have to for sure. Christ leads my life, so I do have to for sure declare that.
Amen. As you should. What city and state do you live in?
Los Angeles, California.
All right. Awesome. And what do you do?
I am an entrepreneur, so my background, I've owned some cell phone stores when I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and then when I moved to Los Angeles, I opened up another cell phone store, and then I got my license to do loans and my license to sell real estate. So I was doing that for a while. And as a serial entrepreneur would do, I have been working on other things like a vitamin supplement brand and also a Christian clothing brand. And hey, the winter is coming and I'm about to be working on something else. But as an entrepreneur, I'm just kind of exploring different things and kind of seeing what industry best suits me and the times.
Say that. So, do you want to put a plug in for your brand, the Christian clothing brand?
Art by Truth.
Excellent. .com?
Artbytruth.com, yes.
Excellent. Okay. So if you all check out her clothes, bold designs, beautiful, and of course, always lifting up the Most High.
Yes, and people too. That's really it's just a message of no matter who you are, where you are, is a message of love.
That's great, which is hopefully at the end of this podcast, if it ever ends, which who knows, I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. And so the
Mhm,
reality is that is the point though, is
mhm,
that everybody needs to be uplifted and live in their truth and their light and their love and of
right.
course the love of God, of course. So T, as a serial entrepreneur or as just T, what is a
Mhm.
credential that you use most often to sell yourself, like either on a job application or as an entrepreneur if you're pitching yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
Say a lot of what I do is usually in sales. So definitely great customer service and to exceed expectations for the customer, being genuine, being authentic, having knowledge of whatever I'm selling, and also knowing how to strategize and also being just very creative. So all of those things and liking to work with people. I like strategizing, brainstorming, and I realize, hey, two heads are better than one.
That's
So
right.
it's always good
That's
to.
right. That's right. That is so right. Okay, well, so let's get into the meat of the questions, which
Okay.
is who did you support in the 2024 presidential election?
Honestly, I can't say I supported anybody more than the other because at the end of the day, it's gonna be. So I can't really allow myself to get too involved in things that I really can't control, and especially on a federal level,
There you
you
go.
know. So,
Okay, no, I hear you there. I hear you there. So, what are
okay.
three feelings you have about the results of the 2024 presidential election?
The three feelings I have is buy some stocks. That's a feeling.
That's
Um,
that's right. Gotta invest now.
Right, better invest now. and also to really make sure that I'm self-sufficient, that I'm positioning myself to be in a position to where I don't have to depend on the government. So, like if I was a person where I was going to be receiving Social Security when with threats of cuts to be made, that would have a huge impact. And so I just, at my age, and I wish I would have started a lot sooner, yeah, I would rather do investments in a different way so that I'm not depending on the government.
Mm.
So that was the second one. And the third one is just honestly optimism. Just trying to be optimistic. I mean, got to look on the bright side and actually hope that things will change. Maybe
Sure.
the economy will get better. Maybe it won't. There's a good chance that prices can shoot up, but just trying to be optimistic because being fearful, I mean, that's just going to steal my joy.
Say that. And it's your perspective as a business owner. I think you're the first person who I've had on who's a serial entrepreneur. And
Mhm.
so your focus of being like strategic and making sure that you are not negatively impacted by the new administration. That's
Right.
that.
And honestly, to be honest, that's why now I'm really trying to go more into a service-based business opposed to a product business because so many products come from overseas and with talks of huge tariffs being put on, I mean that's not good for business. And I'm not manufacturing any of that stuff anytime soon. Not me. That could be good if you're a manufacturer, but
That's
how
right.
many people are manufacturers? Most people are middlemen. Yes, so I'm now just kind of looking into service-based businesses where that won't have a huge impact.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's insightful, and you're right. It's interesting. You might not know this, but one, you've inspired me to be more business minded, right? I've known you my whole life, so you had to have
Hmm.
some sort of influence. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope
But
so.
so I actually created a product recently. It's called a weighted towel. The weighted towel, it's basically the same technology as like a weighted blanket.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I
okay.
mean, nothing like super innovative or anything like that, but it's just a different application of something that already exists. And there's no
Yeah.
actual weighted towel out there. And so
Hmm.
I actually got a prototype. I got two
Oh, great.
prototypes, and I'm looking at getting some funding to get that off the ground. But I'm
Hmm.
also I'm also like having it manufactured in China. And so I don't even know if I can really jump into that business venture now because it's like, you
Absolutely.
know
If
what I
you
mean?
haven't dumped a whole lot of money into it already, it is
Right. Right.
absolutely because yeah, I mean, if we're talking 35% tariffs, and I don't know exactly how that's implemented, it's like, okay, now is that something that who puts that price on? When does that get attached to
Sure.
the goods? So, and I don't know if that's over a certain amount, like, oh, only if the value is over 10,000 or
Right.
over $1,000, we'll implement a 35% tariff. Then that would be a lot better for a lot
For
of consumers
and
because,
business owners.
yeah, business owners, yes, because so many things that even manufacturers that are here in the United States, they still a lot of times depend on parts or pieces from different places.
That's right.
So it's like, I don't think we want stuff to really be going up.
Right. No, no, no. That's a good point because I mean, even if because part of why Trump wants to do that is at least my understanding is that he
Hmm.
wants more manufacturing here in the United
Here
States,
in
right?
exactly. Yes,
Which
but
I mean, we need and great. Let's do
we
that.
we do need that, but that also takes time. That's not
That's
something that's going to happen right now. So it's like at least give a grace period. The people you want to be manufacturing, guess what? They got to build, they got to hire. That we're talking
that's
years in the making. And then it's like
right.
a lot of companies, when they've taken their businesses like to Mexico, a lot of auto manufacturers, and they set up shop out there. And then now make this statement. And then it's like, okay, well, to encourage, like you said, US manufacturing, to try to bring things back. And that still is a process. So you're talking about doing this on day one. That means I
Yeah,
ain't got much time.
that's right. I know that's right. And it's funny because my representative, because I got the supplies via Alibaba, right?
Oh yeah.
And like my rep's like, how you like it? Do you want to put in your first order? And I'm like, I just don't know. I have to make
Yeah.
that decision. So
Well,
I'm
and to get order a sample a lot of times, that's a lot of times I would definitely still say do that because that a lot of times can make you either want to do it or kind of tell you, I could wait on this.
right, right, right. Yeah, it's just it's an interesting perspective. Entrepreneurs
Hmm.
have a certain way they look at the world, and that is something that not everybody understands. So I'm glad you're on
Right.
and agreed to be on. So the next
Yes,
question I have
thank you
for
for
you,
having me.
of course, to you anytime. And so the next question I have is, what do you fear most about the next Trump presidency?
What
And
I could say is,
and that's assuming you fear anything.
right. Like, what would I be most,
Yeah,
apprehensive
that's right.
or,
That's
you
right.
know, I would probably say I don't want to see like a bunch of hate being perpetuated, which I know sometimes has happened when he's been in office. Sometimes that goes up, but
Yeah.
he's got an opportunity to do things a little bit differently. So hopefully he really will be trying to unite us instead of divide us because unfortunately he got that power.
But that's a great point, right? Because me as an optimist person, because I don't like to live in fear either,
Mhm.
is that I'm trying to figure out where the rays of sunshine are with this, right? And
Right.
it's one thing to the identity politics stuff. Like I'm not going to get all up into that because I don't think that
Mhm.
that's really what won the day. What won the day is
Right.
like American values, freedom of speech, the economy, those kind of
Mhm.
things, right? And so
Right.
hopefully those things are things that we can unite around, and hopefully he does do that.
Yeah. But honestly, it's not gonna be it ain't gonna be no telling because the thing that now one thing I do kind of like am a little terrified is just seeing what may happen when the Doge comes in, when Elon
Right.
Musk and they come in and then they start cutting a bunch of jobs and getting rid of a bunch of departments that they think are inefficient.
Right.
We really don't know what that might result in. And two, some things you just don't know until they happen, but it's kind of like Musk is now going to be in a position where he will actually be the most powerful person in the world. He's more powerful
He
than
already there.
probably, yeah, he's already there. And then now, him being Trump's ace boom coon, he's going to get every government contract there probably is to get.
Yeah.
But that will create more jobs, though. I can say that probably would because he'd probably start building a lot of infrastructures here
Mhm.
around the country, and that would give a lot of people jobs who are engineers, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and things along that stem.
Yeah,
But the thing is, that's not everybody.
that's
A
right.
lot of people, you know, that they don't necessarily fit that criteria. So
Sure.
hopefully there will be a lot of jobs for creative people.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point. That is an excellent point. So here's the next question then.
Mhm.
What do you hope most about the next Trump presidency? And you might have answered it already.
That I make some money.
That's right.
That's what I hope that that money starts flowing. And I hope that not only for me, but for other people too. I hope everybody's like, wow, things aren't as tight
Sure.
anymore. We can spend here, spend just to kind of go back to seeing that. But I think some things you just won't never really kind of go back to what it used to be just because the internet is such a big force. Doing things online is so big that things may never be like they were in the early 2000s. Like you go to the mall and it's packed, everybody's
Right.
shopping, spending money, but now you may not see that, period.
Right. No, that's a good
You just
point.
might see more people taking vacations. That's what you might see.
What do you mean by that? Just like
Like
people,
vacate, like that, like that's how you see people's money being spent in a sense.
right,
Like when you're making purchases online, I don't necessarily see that like I may if I go to the mall. But lately,
right.
when I go to the mall, and I've gone to many different malls, they all look very slow.
Mhm.
Retail looks like it's slowed up a lot, and that's because so many people do things online. So I just hope that this come next year that that people will feel like money is flowing. And I mean, I guess it would be very interesting to see the government in a different way than what we've always seen it. So it's kind of like, well, what does that mean for people? I mean, do we get to run
Mhm.
wild? I mean, what does that mean? How would that affect me, the everyday person, now not having this department, not having that department?
Right.
How does that trickle on down?
Yeah, and some of that, I mean, the Department of Education is one of those big
Right.
ones that
Hmm.
people have been talking about, and really all of them. And it's interesting because I watched one of Trump's videos where he was laying, I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I think there's a couple of them where he's laying out significant policy, and he's saying, when I'm in office, we gonna move all of the departments out of Washington, D.C. and put them all
Yes.
across the United States. Like to me, that don't even sound like a bad idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that might not be like, I mean, what it will do is probably make more money for the states, the places that they
right,
go. So,
right.
like, that would create more jobs. Like, if they got
That's
rid
right.
of the Department of Education over there, then my question is, I mean, are y'all still going to be sending the funds?
Right, right, right.
That's not going to be state funded, all state funded, is it? I mean,
Yeah,
so it's just like, okay, if you just want the people to run the department that,
yeah,
like the school districts and things like that, they just be here, leave it to the
yeah.
states. But I guess we gotta say, it's like, why you got a secretary for education then?
Right.
If you're gonna get rid of that department.
Right, right, that's right. Say that, right? But it's interesting because you also said some of these things do take time. You were talking about business and the business
Hmm.
manufacturing, but if it is a dismantling of systems and
Right,
departments, then
that
it
takes it.
will
Hmm.
also take time, right? So
Yes.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Thank goodness, yeah, you can't just snap your fingers and make it. It's
Yeah.
like I think that does have to go through Congress or something. So
Which,
that, but hey, when you run in the House and the
that's
Congress,
right. That's right.
I mean, it's like the bad boys is in town,
That's
okay?
that's right. That's right.
Seriously, because Musk is over here talking about anybody go against this, that, woo, woo, woo. He's got billions to spend
That's right.
just to get rid of you.
I know, and I gotta admit, like when I was one of the emotional ones who heard
Mhm.
about when he was
Mhm.
elected and stuff. And one of the like initial reactions of fear that I have was that he was gonna come after me as an
Mhm.
individual. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I mean, put yourself in a place of just a person who has a business and you got the head mafia person who's looking at you type
right.
shit. You know what I'm
Like, oh,
saying? Like,
you gotta pay to be as like, oh, and I guess I don't see that. Like, I guess I would honestly, personally feel a little more threatened if I was an immigrant.
right.
I
That's right.
may think I was on the chopping block. So I could totally understand how those people absolutely would be
Yeah.
free. I'm like, whoa, I looked at that border Caesar. He don't play. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I need to stop smiling while I'm
You know what I
talking to you.
mean? I'm like, oh my.
You'll have to excuse me, audience. I love my cousin very much and I love chopping it up with her. So that's where you're getting all this laughing in. But these are serious issues and they're gonna affect a lot of people and we just gotta
Yeah,
see
and
what happens.
yeah, and that affects businesses too because
Mhm.
immigrants have a very positive impact on businesses. And
Yeah.
so, hey, I hope you get your papers because hey, honestly, there's protocols to things. So that's for everybody. You can be an American and still be in a bad position because you didn't follow the rules and the laws, you
That's
know?
right. That's right. That's right.
So nobody except Mr. Trump himself is exempt.
That's the whole truth. All right, so the next question is, what do you believe about the people who voted opposite of you? And so it's a little interesting of a question given how you.
Well, I'll just answer for both sides what I think for both
Sure.
sides. So I think for people who supported Trump, I think that a lot of them wanted to see some type of change for sure, because yeah, the economy has been dragging. So I definitely think people wanted to see that. I also think that a lot of people, especially in certain places, just tired of seeing things like crime
Yeah, oh
up
yeah.
high. And so I think a lot of times people probably voted for him based on maybe some moral thing or something like that, somewhere
Sure.
along those lines, or their money, kind of along the lines of money or morals.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't knock it. That's
You can't
everybody
knock
can.
it, right? Because at
Yeah,
the end of the
exactly.
day,
That's
it's like we all got to pay
right.
for the
Hey,
roof
if
over
that
our
means
head.
right.